Okay, here we are. We are in Judges chapter 9. So it says, Vayelech Avimelech ben Yerubbaal Shechem. So Avimelech, the son of Yerubbaal, went to Shechem. Elachei imo, to the brothers of his mother. Vaydeber aleim, and he spoke to them. V'el kol mishpachat b'nei avi imo lemor, and to all the family members of his mother's house, saying. So here's Avimelech. He is the what do you call it? The one of the daughter or the son of the Zona, right? He had a Zona here. Am I mixing stories up? He had a Pelegish. I'm sorry, Pelegish, not a Zona. A Pelegish. He had these. This is son of the Pelegish, and so now he's going to make a coup.
What's very encouraging is we've had every word in our grammar class.
Oh, there you go.
In that verse.
There you go. See that? The grammar. That's why it's good. Now you can translate. You don't need me anymore after a while. Okay.
But it's very encouraging. We've had every grammar point and every word
Baruch Hashem.
in a verse.
Dabru na, speak now, or please speak. Again, either way, now can mean, it normally is now. So dabru na, yeah, it's normally now. It's only at times that it's please. But it's, again, dabru na buzz, but it's, let me say like this too. Na also could be a very polite way of saying it. In other words, you could say speak now, but it could also mean that the same connotation, please speak now, whatever you want to say like that.
Interesting.
So it's not like dabir.
Speak. In other words.
Speak. It's dabir na. So it's either, it's not achshav. Yeah, achshav me now is also. So it seems to, remember in Hebrew, we also have to remember this. Na means everything at once. It means please, now. So now what fits best in the context? But
the translator, in other words.
The translator makes a choice. That's why when translators either say now or please, what they've done is they've taken your ability, well, the reader's ability, to say, what else it could be. That's what they've done. They've taken away your freedom of thought. And that's why when you're translating, that's why I always say when people translate, they are giving a perush, they are giving an explanation. As compared to the word is dabruna. Okay? And dabru, of course, is a command form for plural. You speak.
It just seems like, again, all of us being, growing up being native English speakers, it just seems like in English, every word most words have a very specific meaning. In the Hebrew, there's a lot of variation. It's not as wordy a language, huh?
Yiddish has a lot of meanings too. New. The word new.
Yeah.
New can mean 1,000 different things.
Yeah. I mean, but in English,
Right.
we're used to this
Right.
word means,
Right. And, well, I don't know, you have the word cool.
Huh?
Cool. Cool can mean a lot of things. Cool can
that's
mean
kind of slang. Though.
cool. It could mean,
That's kind of slang.
no, but it can mean everything. That's my point.
I always say, "Oh, that's cool, man."
That's it, right. But I was just saying,
Cool
but in
means-
context, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if you look at the word cool and say, what does that mean?
You mean as used normally, not as a slang.
If I say the word cool, you're going to normally say it means cold. And I'll say, no, it means good. And you'll say, what do you mean it means good?
Okay, but now that's more of a
Again,
modern
slang.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is sometimes here too you'd have the same thing. The variance, you would have a variance of what it could mean. So sometimes means this, sometimes means that. Context.
Yeah.
It's always context.
Yeah.
But my point is that when this author, when Judaica Press decided to say speak now, and maybe our scroll does the same thing, I'm not sure. Do you have our scroll in front of you?
No.
How's he translate?
Okay.
You have the.
Well, who do you have?
Is this a copy from our school?
I just got it off the internet.
So what do they say? Speak
how
now?
do you translate that?
It's I pray you.
I pray you. There you go. So he's going for please. I pray. please.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay.
That's kind of an old English.
Yeah, Old English. But I'm just saying that's what you have here. So again, you have to know context and you figure it out from there.
Yeah.
So Dabru na bazne kol ba'ale Shechem. So speak now, or please speak into the ears of all the people of Shechem. Ma tov lachem. What good is it? What, in other words, what's better for you? Hamashol b'chem shivim ish. Is it better to be ruled by 70 men? Remember, Gidon had 70 children. So when now that he's died, the children are going to fight or work together, whatever the case is going to be. So you have 70. So
Is this really the concept of 70 elders comes from?
No, that's straight from the Torah. 70 elders is straight from the Torah.
Interesting, the 70 then.
Right, but he had 70 kids. You could say happenstance, whatever, but he had 70 kids. So Hamashol Bachem Shivim Ish said better, should it be ruled by 70 men? Kol B'nai Yerubal, all of the children of Yerubal, Imashol Bachem Ish Echad. Or should it be ruled, or is it better to be ruled by one man? Uzechartem. And remember, you people should remember, Ki atzmechem v'asem ani. I am your flesh and blood. Because my mother's from Shechem. So I'm really one of you. So who is it better, he's asking? Should it be ruled by my 70 brothers or by me? And I'm one of you.
A multiple ruling, would be an oligarchy? What do you call it? Is that many are ruling?
What's an oligarchy?
What's it, huh?
What is an oligarchy?
Huh?
I'm not sure what an oligarchy is.
Bill, that's where many people, you have a ruling class or something?
Oh, okay.
So
there you go.
Is there maybe that many people? How are you ever going to get anything done? You get them all to decide.
We have a Congress. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right.
No, but really, you have the Congress. The Congress can work. If we want, the Congress does work. It's just on major things it doesn't work. And because there's so many political infights.
That's insane.
But here you have a family, so they want to rule. There'll be discussion. There'll be politics and everything else. Yeah. The question he's saying is, would you rather have an oligarchy? You said, versus a monarchy?
Yeah.
I'm doing it myself.
Yeah.
But again, he says, but I'm one of you. I remember his mother comes from Shechem. She's a concubine, so I'm coming from you. So it's very interesting. So the Judaica press says, before we get to anybody else, he says, Avimelech went to Shechem. He had been in Ophrah, assisting his father in ruling the people. However, after Gidon died, a dispute erupted concerning succession to the judgeship. Consequently, Avimelech enlisted the assistance of his mother's family. Avimelech's desire to rule contrasts sharply with his father's modesty. Gidon concerned himself with Israel's welfare, whereas Avimelech was only concerned about his own dominion. So that's the introduction we're getting from the Judaic press. And then the Malbim says, here it is, Ma tov lachem, what's better for you? Says Amar, he said, Amar shidabru ela am. He said, speak to the nation. Shazet tov adaklal, that's for the general, that this is for the general good. What I'm saying to you is for the general good. Because what happened? She'im yimshlu b'nei Yeruval b'hechrich yimshlu kulam acher shekulam shavim. So if the b'nei Yeruval, the children of Yerubal, are going to rule, then they will be forced to rule all together, and everybody will be equal. And then all of them will be equal, and their merits will be equal in this ruling position. And this is not good before everybody. In other words, for the general public. And this is, and the second thing that's even good for you is, I'm one of you. So really that's where he's going from. He wants to And then the Mesilas David even goes further. He says, "Who's better? Im l'mshol b'chem shivim nashim, shivim ish. If his bed be ruled by 70 men, ki kulam b'nei Yeruval heim ve'umi nidche. All of them are the children of Ruval, and who's going to stop them? Okay, who can stop them? They're all the same. Nobody can reproof them because they're all of the same family. They're all equal. Same thing Malbim was basically saying. Okay, so let's see what happens. So what happens is Vayidabru Achei Imo. So the brothers of his mother spoke about him to all the children, into the ears of all the people, all the men in Shechem. All of these words. So now their hearts went after Avimelech, ki amru, because they said, Achinuhu, he's our brother. We are his brother. He is our brother. So he is our brother. So you can't do anything. Let's go with our brother. Kim kulam hayug lo karava. They felt this kinship to him, and they were much better. They liked him a little better than the other ones. Fine. So they gave to him 70 pieces of silver, Baal Brit, from the house of Baal Brit. Who was Baal Brit? So I believe that was, if I'm correcting, Hashem of Zara. They to open their Baal Brit was the name of the idol. So they went into the shul. They went to their church's collection plate.
The idol of
Baal Brit.
Covenant?
Yeah, the master of the covenant, Gesundheit. Master of the covenant.
Wow.
Yeah, Baal Brit. What this Baal Brit did? Does anybody say? I don't see anybody saying why he was called Baal Brit. But let me just see very quickly. He's just saying it's the same as the Avodah Zarah. I don't think we're going to find out why he's called Baal HaBrit. Gesundheit. Okay, so we'll see as we go along, but I don't remember seeing anybody. Yeah, everybody's just saying what it is.
Okay.
Oh, so there's one. If you go to the Gemara Shabbos, Gesundheit. If you go to the Gemara Shabbos, so there's it uses the word Balabret. So the Gemara Shabbos and Pei Gimel. I didn't go there because I wasn't.
Oh, and then you have to go look it up and see in what context.
Yeah, if there's anything there, they may not explain it either. It's just maybe it's just his name, Gesundheit. But it's I'm not sure.
In other words, that's some pagan idol. That's a whatever pagan group, and that's just presumably what that group called it. In other words.
Yeah. Okay. Here you go, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay. So it's it could be whatever. Again, it's
that's meaningless.
They all have They all have names. It's like you would know what Marcellus is. You would know what Por was. We have a tradition as to what they were. So again, if you go to the Gemara, they may say why they called him Baal Brit. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
Anyway, so what happens? They give him. Like I said, they stole from the building fund, and they took the 70 pieces of gold from the building fund, as it were, of Baal Brit. And so what happens? Vayizkor b'hem Avimelech. So they hired Avimelech, and Avimelech hired with that money Anashim Reikim Ufochazim. He hired a great army here, empty and hasty men, in other words, the lowlifes of the world. V'yelchu acharav, and they went after him. So he steals from they give him from he didn't steal. They give him from the money. So who says this? Barvanel says, why 70 pieces? They were representing the 70 sons of Gidon, whom they would cause to slay. Others explain that this equals the amount of the tribute that everyone would have to pay to each of Gidon's sons. However, now they gave it all to Avimelech alone. Okay, fine. So what happens? So now let's look at the Malbim. He says, "Ve'ed libam," their heart went to Avimelech. Lo mipnei tova kalala, it wasn't because of the general good. Lo mitzad shezachru ma shenadru ruvael. And he didn't mention the vow that they said to Gidon, Mashal Banu, Gam Ata, Gam Bincha, when he said, rule over us, you and also your children, Rag, they only went to him because Mitzad, Ki Amru, because they said, he's our brother. So that's it. Vayitnu lo, and then they gave him 70 pieces of silver. So he says, Uvazet nishtatfu ba'al shechem ba'al harotzeach ki azru b'kesef. And in this, B'nai, the Shechemites, joined in with the killer because they gave him the money. So they're tacitly, I think is the word, tacitly approving of what Avimelech was about to do, because they gave him the money. So the Malbim's not letting them off. Okay, fine. Let's continue. So, hey. Vayavo Beit Aviv Ephrata, and he came to his father's house in Ephrata. Vayarog Edecha B'nei Yeruval Shivim Ish Al Even Achat. And he killed all of his 70 brothers on one stone. Vayevatir Yotam ben Yerubal Chatonki Nechba. The only one that remained was Yotam, the son of Yerubal, the youngest one. Why? Because he hid. Okay, so that's always nice. We have one boy left over, and so it says the Metzudas Torah says. Vayevatir Yotam. Yotam was left over. B'nei Yerubal b'mispar shivim ki imo hayu shivim. So really, all he could kill was 69. He didn't get the 70th because Yerubal was part of that 70. Okay, and fine. Let's go on. Where is it? Okay. Oh, by the way. This also is interesting. When you look at the translation of Vayavo, he says, and he went to his father's house.
Oh.
And bo means come. Normally means come. Halach normally means go. Normally. I should say like this. In modern day Hebrew, bo means come, halach means go. But we always say, bo-i kala, right? Which means come, O bride, come, O bride.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean go. It doesn't mean come. Come, right? Right. Oh, the chadudi the krakala. That's what I wanted to do. Let's go. Oh, that would also work. There are times. I was thinking of other things. There are times when the words are switched. Where bo means went, and halach means to come. The chadudi the krakala, come, let's go and greet the come. Not let's. But some people would say, by the way, the chadudi. No, because it has to. No, it could be let's go, my beloved, and greet the king. It could be let's go, or it could be come, my beloved, and so the whole way is to say. Yeah.
I was going to ask anything if it had to do with the vav with the patach.
No, that just turns it to the past. But like I said, so I translate it as he came to his.
Interesting.
And so they want to say went, whatever the case is going to be. But it could be a lot of different. Sometimes it goes to you can switch off.
You can see it as enter, arrive. It has a lot of meanings.
Well, arrive would be higia.
It's another. I mean, what? It's some kind of motion. Whether it's like, okay, so you're in a certain spot and you're saying either he went or he's there and he's coming to me.
Right. But again, once again, you could say lechadodi, let's go, my beloved, or come, my beloved. So I think that's by the way, that's where I think we have the problem in English more than the Hebrew. In other words, when we're trying to translate, sometimes the expressions in English don't work with the Hebrew. The Hebrew doesn't change. The meaning doesn't change. But our language changed. I'll give you an best example. Shema Yisrael.
Oh, yeah.
Hear Israel. It's not hear, it's listen. And that's why it's hear, O Israel. If you look in the old translations, hear, O Israel. What's hear, O Israel? But that's what it is. Listen, Israel. Hear ye, hear ye. Listen.
Oh.
So.
Oh. Hear you, in other words. You.
Right.
Hear
Right.
you. It means
Hear. Right.
listen.
Right. Listen. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes we, in our English, because of our, just how we speak our English, it doesn't translate well. So, but the word doesn't change.
Yeah.
I have to tell Jim that it doesn't change. It's our understanding of what makes sense to us in this language.
We try to fit that to the Hebrew.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now we look and say, oh, so bo means went? No, bo means come. But it doesn't work well it may not work well in how we understand things.
The Hebrew mind, person that grew up speaking Hebrew, they're going to understand.
Yeah, there's no question.
Yeah.
Right. That's what they would say.
They're going to hear the same word. But
Right.
It's something I mentioned the other day, that sometimes all those meanings are at the same time.
Correct. Like
Shema is to hear, to listen, but it also can mean to obey. So it could be all
Correct.
those elements at the same time.
correct.
One of the aspects, it's a consonant language and right to left.
Right, but what?
You have to get used to the fact that with a shorish, you have lots of meanings at the same time.
I'm agreeing with you.
It's just in your mind.
When it comes to Shema, with those two things of listen, hear, and obey, that would work. But when it comes to bo, and it means come, and now you're saying it means go. So how does it work like that? And I'm suggesting it doesn't work like that. I'm suggesting that the English translation is what we're trying to figure out. Why would you say go in there? And again, because it makes sense in the sentence, but only because of how we're looking at it. I could easily say he came, as I did. He came to his father's house in Ephrat, and he did this. Not that he went. But there, for some reason, they decided, and he went. It could be because of the, if you look at the Targum, which I don't know if everybody has, it says Va'al, he went up. He went up. He went up to his father's house. So, or he ascended, whatever the case is going to be. So it could be a couple of different things that we're looking at. In other words, how do they get, and again, as a translator, I really have to know what I'm doing because I'm making decisions here as a translator.
Yeah.
If I'm going through the Hebrew, I'm not looking at the Aramaic. I remember I had an interview one time at, I won't say where. I had an interview. This is a relevant thing. And there was nobody in the classroom. He told me, give a moral classroom to a bunch of boxes. I remember this. I said, okay, whatever you want. And so I translated something. And he said, you did not follow the Targum. I said, well, because I'm not going to because it's Hebrew. He said, no, you have to follow the Targum in this case. And you didn't. Okay, thank you very much. Goodbye. And I was thinking, wow, that's an interesting statement, that I didn't follow the Targum. So he decided, no, I don't know what I'm talking about. But I chose not to do that because you have to figure out why it's... My whole thing is to look at the sentence and tell me what the problem is. That's always been my agenda in the classroom. If I give you the translations, like I'm doing here, and I'm not making you worry about it, so you're not really getting it. You're not getting the problems of the Meforshim. Okay, when you read in English, you don't really get the problems of the Meforshim. But if you're looking at the Hebrew and you say, okay, Vayavo, Aviv, Ephrat, and then you see he went. What do you mean he went? He came. How do you get to he went? So then you have to look, okay, well, who says he went? Or how did he get to he went? So that's what I'm saying. It's... I remember that interview very well.
The Targum says he went up.
He went up.
So therefore, these translators.
He went.
Yeah.
He went.
He's going to something. In other words,
right?
Not coming.
And since you're not saying he's going, they didn't want for some reason to say he came. They said he went. Yeah. Like I said, it could be just the way the English is working.
Huh.
Okay, not to get too stuck on those, just to point it out. Okay, so what happens is, next. V'yasfu, so we're on Vav. The 6. V'yasfu kol ba'alei Shechem v'chol beit miloi. So all of the people of Shechem and all of the household, if you will, of Beit Milo assembled. Well, they all got together, they assembled. V'yelchu, and they went. V'yamlichu et Avimelech, and so they crowned Avimelech lemelech as a king. Im elon mutzav, by the how do they say, the plain of stones. Asher b'Shechem, and he went and I'm sorry, that was in Shechem. That's what they're doing. So he says, so the Rashi says, Im Elon Mutzav, so he says, Meisha Kamta, Mishro, so, okay. There was this plane that had these, like podiums, okay. Stands, I guess. So what happens with the Malbim says, Vayishma, whoops. Yeah, so Yishma Aleichem, no, I didn't get that far. I'm not that far yet. Okay, well, I didn't get that far. Okay, for the Malbim. Okay. So now we're coming to the part where Yotam gets to tell off the people. Ve'agidu leYotam. And they told it to Yotam. Remember, he is the surviving son of the surviving legal son, if you will, of Gidon. Ve'yelech ve'amod b'rosh har Gerizim. Now he went and he stood on the head of Har Gerizim. Vayisak. Now you had Har Eval and Har Gerizim. Remember, that's where the curses were given. The curses and blessings were given. So Vayisa, I forget what, I think Gerizim was where the curses were given. The curses were given among Gerizim. So he's standing there. Vayisa kolo, and he lifted his voice, as it were. Vayikra, and he called out. Vayomer lehem, and he said to them, Shimu Elai Ba'ale Shechem. Listen to me. He doesn't say Shimu now, by the way. There's not a nice language here. Listen to me, people of Shechem. Vayishma Aleichem Elokim. And that Hashem may listen to you. So he's okay, and so the Metzudas David says, why should Hashem listen to you? Because of the recompense that you listened to me. Because Hashem should pay you for that. Haloch halchu ha'etzim. The trees went forth. Limshoach aleihem melech, to crown for them, to anoint a king for them, king over them. Vayomer lezayit, and they said to the olive tree, malka aleinu, rule over us. I'm just going to run through the story if you don't mind. We'll see what happens. Vayomer lehem hazayit, and so the olive tree said to them, hechadalti et dishni. Should I leave my fatness asher be that I have yichabdu Elohim ve'anashim? They honor God and man v'halachti, and so now I go lenua ala eitzim, to go and wave over the trees. In other words, he was saying no. The olive tree said no. And then, Vayomra Eitzim L'Te'ena, so the trees said to the fig tree, L'chi at Malki Aleno, you go and reign over us. Vayomra Lehem At-Te'ena, the fig tree said to them, Hechadalti et Matki, V'etunuvati Hatova, should I leave my sweetness and my good fruitage, V'halachti, and I would go, L'nua Ala Eitzim, to go wave over the trees. So again, the answer is no. Vayomer eitzim legafen. The tree said to the grapevine, L'chiata malki aleinu. You go and rule over us. V'tomer lehem hagefen. So the gefen, the vine, the wine. What was it called? The grapevine said to them, Hechadalti et tiroshi. should I leave my wine, which causes both Hashem and men to be happy, and then I will go lanua ala eitzim, to wave over the trees. They finally came, and so now the trees go to the thorn bush.
Wow.
You go and rule over us. So the thorn bush said to the trees, if in truth you want to anoint me as king over you, so then and take refuge in my shade, and if not, let the fire go out from the thorn, and eat up the cedars of Lebanon. And now, so now he goes back. That was a parable, by the way. And now, if you have dealt in truth and completeness, you have done. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, if you have done in truth and completeness, in other words, tam is complete. How is sincerity? They say sincerity. When you call a person an ish tam, okay. Yaakov was called an ish tam. He's a complete person, someone at peace. If you've done this with true sincerity, that's why you ruled. That's why you picked Avimelech as your king. V'tamlichu et Avimelech v'im tova asitem im Yerubal v'im beto. And if you've done good with Yerubal and his house, v'im k'gemul yadav asitem lo, and you have done according to the and you've done to him according to the desert of his, in other words, what he deserves. Asher nilcham avi alechan, that my father fought for you. And he threw his soul opposite this. In other words, he put his whole life, he didn't care about himself. And he saved you from the hand of Midian. Kamtem al beit avi hayom, and you arose against my father's house today. Tahargu epanav shivim ish al even echat, and you killed his children, 70 altogether, on one stone. And you crowned Avimelech, the son of his handmaiden, over the inhabitants of Shechem, who, because he's your brother. Now again, so even if you dealt with truth and completeness, you've done with Yerubal and his house this day, Simchu b'Avimelech, rejoice with Avimelech, v'yismach gam hu b'chem, and he will rejoice in you also. V'yim ayin. But if not, if he didn't do this in completeness and peace, teitze eish me'Avimelech, a fire should go off from Avimelech. V'tocha ba'alei Shechem beit malo. It should ravage and eat up the inhabitants of Shechem and also and beit malo. V'teitze eish me'ba'alei Shechem beit malo v'tochal et Avimelech. And the fire should similarly go out from Baal Shechem and the beit malo and eat up Avimelech, consume him. Okay, and then right after that, after his speech, Vayanas Yotam fled. Vayivrach, and another word for fled. Ve'elech Be'er, he came to Be'er. Ve'yeshiv Sham mipnei Avimelech achiv, and he lived there because of Avimelech's brother. Okay, let's go back and figure out what's going on now. But that's his speech. Can you imagine? Everybody's on this, who's ever been watching me, they're saying, he just covered so many psukim. Okay, yeah. But to break that speech up would have been a crime. Okay, that's how I felt about it. You have to hear the whole speech. He is coming and he is giving them musar like never before. And he's saying, you abandoned my father's home. You killed 69 people, innocent people. And you picked this guy. And if you did it, l'shem shamayim, rejoice, be happy, because that means you did right. But if you did it for some other reason, ladies and gentlemen, the curse is you'll be destroyed. And not only you, but also my brother, Avimelech. Okay, so like I said, let's go back and see what happens here. Very simply, the pshat is pshat. Okay, so now what happens is, let's just look. Here we go. So Rashi says on this whole thing very quickly. He says they went to the trees. Who was this? Is he says right away? This is a parable. Who's Lezayit? Who's the olive tree? Atniel ben Kenaz. Remember, that was the first one of the judges. He was the Talmud Chacham who got back 300 or 3,000, I forget what it was, all these halachot that Yehoshua forgot. He said, Haba Mishevet Yehuda Shenikra Zai. He was from the tribe of Yehuda, so he's called Zayed and Olive Shenemar, as it says, Zayed Rana. He gives a proof. Dishnei, that's the language of Shuman, of oil. Then who's the Te'ena? Who was the fig tree? That date tree, that was Devorah, because she was under the date tree. Fine. Yeah. And then again, it's the sweetness of the dates. The Geffen, who was Geffen? Gidon himself. He was from the tribe of, he was from the seed of Yosef. Okay, so that would be why. So he's picking all these people. All these people you wanted them to rule over you, and all of them said no. A thorn bush comes along, and of course that's Avimelech, and says, yes, fine. Now that's again, that's Rashi's truth. Look at this. Let's see what happens. The Malbim says, how much time do I have here? I don't have any time. Okay, so please remind me to go back to verse 7 to see what with the Malbim next week. Verse 7, and we'll see what happened with the whole thing, and again what they were trying to get to. But regardless of that, in case I forget or you forget, it's a fantastic story that he's telling and giving parables, and they understood the parables. And they also understood the final curse. And when you see what happens, it's not a fun day.
And so they were still close enough to it to understand what he was. Yeah.
So he didn't want to say it straight. So he used a parable. Now the craziest thing is, if you don't have this tradition, again, I always go back to this. If you don't have the tradition, if you don't have the commentaries, the person looking at this will have no idea what he's talking about.
What kind of funny stories he telling?
What kind of parable? I don't get the parable.
Amazing young man.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Okay, so that's what it's about.
Okay.